Hello everyone, my name is Major League Gaming Trap. And for today, I am going to be ranking Illumination antagonists from the least bad to the most evil. The rules are simple. This is all opinion based. With all of that out of the way, let us begin. Let's start off with the barely bad tier. This tier is for the antagonists that don't do enough evil or aren't that bad compared to the other villains.
Felonious was originally an infamous supervillain with goals of becoming the greatest villain of all time. He stole Queen Elizabeth's crown, stole the Zodiac Stone from the Vicious Six when they rejected him, stole the Times Square Jumbotron, the small Las Vegas Statue of Liberty, and the small Las Vegas Eiffel Tower, stole the shrink ray from the Russian Research Center and used it to shrink the moon and stole it. He was a sneaky, dishonest, manipulative, and somewhat cold-hearted man who is determined to become the greatest villain in the world. He hates children, being easily irritated by Agnes, Edith, and Margot. He is self-centered, pompous, and vain, and he only adopts the girls so that he can break into Vector's vault and steal the shrink ray to advance his agenda. He is also rather cruel, arrogant, flagitious, and even sadistic. He enjoys using his freeze ray, his signature weapon, and freezing people just for the sake of it. Despite these traits, Brew is shown to be good friends with those he usually works with, such as Dr. Nefario and his minions, referring to each one of them by name. He is very tragic, as he was separated from his twin brother Drew, constantly picked on by his peers in school, was isolated there just cause he accidentally touched a girl named Lisa when he tried to ask her out, and was raised by her cruel and perverted mother Marlene, who had no regard for him in the slightest, which traumatized him and made him a villain, and all of those scenes were played for sympathy. Even during his time as a villain, he is shown to be honorable as he tipped the cashier of the coffee shop where he froze the people in, despite having no pragmatic reason to do so. He also tried his best to keep Agnes's pinky promise in going to her dance recital, and he was genuinely upset when he found out he was too late. Even before he redeemed himself, he already had standards as he didn't approve of the carnival baker after Agnes hit the spaceship without knocking it over after he mocked her over losing. Brew blasted his game, which he deserved as he may have rigged it, and won Agnes her fluffy unicorn. Eventually, he redeems himself to save Margot, Edith, and Agnes from Vector. He becomes a member of the Anti-Villain League after that and stop various villains who pass the heinous standards such as El Macho and Balthazar as to take care of his adopted daughters and make sure they are safe. The Grinch was the grouchy green outcast who hated Christmas. He disguised himself as Santa Claus, broke into every house, and stole gifts from them in secret. He stole their decorations, trees, food, toys, and even small items like ice cubes, turkey, and the last can of Who hash. He liked to bully and antagonize the citizens of Hoville whenever he can. He takes some sadistic pride in his work, and sees an artistry and style to being generally mean and nasty. However, after realizing the true meaning of Christmas upon hearing the host's plea, he felt guilt and redeemed himself, trying to undo his actions. He gave them back their toys, decorations, ribbons and strings, and he also helped Cindy Louisiana's mother and caught the rare roast beast. Even before his redemption, he did have care for his dog, Max, even more than his other versions. He also cares for a select few individuals that manage to appeal to it under his tough exterior like his moose, Fred. He does it because he was an orphan who never celebrated Christmas with anyone. Foreman Spike is the boss of the Wrecking Crew Demolition Company. He employed Mario and Luigi for a time before the brothers quit to form their plumbing business, having gotten fed up with his spiky behavior. Because of this, he constantly bullies, belittles and chastises the duo, mainly Mario, over their decision to strike out on their own. Spike is seen eating pizza, and he tells Mario that he will always be a joke not before he leaves. Later on, as elements from the Mushroom Kingdom come into Brooklyn, Foreman Spike witnesses Mario in a fight against Bowser and takes refuge. He is later attacked by Shy Guy's Hammer Bros and Dry Bones until a star-powered Luigi saves him. After Bowser's defeat, Foreman Spike grows to respect the Mario Bros, alongside the dog, Francis. The chef is an oppressive, psychopathic, strict and sadistic chef and cook who works at a restaurant in Manhattan, New York, where he prepares a roasted dish called duck l'orange, which he makes from the ducks he captures, slaughters, and cooks. Not much is known about the chef's personality, but it is likely he is a ruthless, egocentric and greedy man. Firstly, he carelessly abuses one of his workers for food not standing up to his personal tastes. Secondly, his lavish wealth is implied since he owns a military-style helicopter shaped like a tiger, showing more of a vanity side. Lastly, he shows no empathy, sympathy nor remorse to killing sapient creatures. While some could contend that he does not know the animal, particularly the ducks have no free will, he would not go on a vengeful streak against a family of ducks. Additionally, even if he could not understand animal speech, it should be apparent to a normal person that said animals exhibit human-like intelligence. He willingly pays farmers to get ducks, but when he does not get his ducks, he flies into a rage against both the ducks and farmers. He goes so far as to kidnap and separate Mike and Pam from the rest of the ducks. The farm where he purchased the ducks shows that the ducks have human-like desires, yet he does not even flinch at the prospect of murdering sapient creatures. However, nothing in the movie indicates that he's aware that his pet Scarlet Macaw, Delroy, or the ducks are sapient. Otherwise, he's just an aggressive businessman who is mean to his employees. Snowball is White Rabbit, who was the original leader of the Flash Pets and Max's former arch-nemesis who seeks to destroy humanity and take over the world. He built an army of the abandoned pets to take revenge on all owners and the pets themselves, gets into the truck, finds Ripper, one of the members of the Flash Pets, and to his carrot to make a key to Ripper's cage, calls Viper to bite Max and Duke as recognition to the new recruit in the process, decides to hunt down Max and Duke even if they escape from the sewer and head to Brooklyn, and fiercely attacks Max until he discovered that Duke and Ripper were captured as well. He wants to make a bigger plan for revenge, but he was seen by a girl. Snowball was known for being insanely cute. However, he is also literally psychopathic and insane, due to the trauma of being abandoned by his owner. He is extremely hateful and argumentative towards pets and their owners. However, he redeemed himself by the end of the first movie, after getting adopted by Molly. In the sequel, he became a superhero and helped defeat Sergei. Drew Gru is an amateur supervillain and the twin brother of Thelonious Gru. He convinced Gru into returning to villainy and aided him in a crime spree across Fredonia. He was upset that in Gru planned that he is the getaway driver, when he wanted to be on Gru's side when they get their hands on the diamond, and became the richest supervillain in the entire world. When they got home, when Gru said he will return the Dumont diamond, Drew hesitated and said we can't return the Dumont diamond, which made them argue because Drew tries to convince Gru to return to evil again, though Gru refused. While originally incompetent to the point where he almost ruins Gru's heist, he subverts this by the end of the movie when he is able to constantly outsmart Gru at every turn. At the end of the film, he stole Gru's airship and replaced Gru's emblems with a D. Gru and Lucy catch them in the act as Drew continue his family tradition with the minions. Despite still being evil, he teams up with Gru and Lucy to take down Balthazar Brat. He does care for Gru as he did save Gru by destroying Balthazar Brat's robot, and he wanted Gru to teach him on how to be a great supervillain. He also cares for the girls as this is what convinces him to help Gru and Lucy. The Bear Gang are a trio of Russian-accented grizzly bear mobsters who become the arch-enemies of Mike after he cheated during a gambling match. All three bears are greedy, cunning, deceitful, manipulative, and treacherous thugs who enjoy playing cards and gambling at a nightclub. They are very serious about their games and hate being cheated. After Mike swindled them during poker, they relentlessly chased him, the leader almost eating him on multiple occasions. The bears trespass in the theater, demanding Buster's prize money in exchange for Mike's life. When Buster stalls, the leader smashes the chest containing the money, which causes Buster's makeshift glass stage full of water and singing squids to crack. This starts a chain reaction that ultimately leads to the Moon Theater's collapse. Assuming that Mike died in the aftermath, the bears quickly run before they can be connected with the theater's destruction. They manage to kidnap Mike without being seen, and the leader tries to eat Mike again, only for his girlfriend, Nancy, to come to his rescue in Mike's car. While the two mice are driving away, they don't notice that the bear leader is sneering them while hanging onto the back. As of Sing Thriller, it's revealed that the bears failed to eat Mike, and they didn't make a cameo appearance, which implies that they were most likely arrested after their final encounter with Mike. Klaus Kicking Flubber is Johnny's dance instructor. Klaus is shown to be very strict, abrasive, harsh, and pushes his dancing students to their very limits. While instructing Johnny, he would insult him and be especially critical and even abusive, that Johnny almost quit dancing entirely. Klaus is so proud and arrogant that he judges aspiring dancers so harshly that if he deems them lost causes, he'll make his opinion painfully clear, and is certain that there is nothing they can do to prove otherwise. During the show, Klaus takes the place of Johnny's performance partner, Ryan, to try to undermine his number, but Johnny beats Klaus with encouragement from Nushi, Ryan and the other dancers. While accepting defeat, Klaus bows to Johnny, finally giving him his respect. While Knuckle was a legendary supervillain, as well as the founder of the Vicious Six, until they betrayed him for the Zodiac Stone. He kidnaps Gru and tortures him with a torture device involving a giant wrecker that would cut him in half with a razor, brings Gru in a heist involving the Bank of Evil and pretends to have a heart attack so that Gru can swipe the keys of Mr. Perkins, and fakes his death and was hiding, meaning he is not redeemed. He takes the role as young Thelonious Gru's parental figure and assists him in defeating his former teammates. He was very committed to his team, willing to share the power of the Zodiac Stone with them before he was betrayed. While Knuckles has a deep desire to be a part of a team, and to be said team's leader, after his original team left him, he hired a band of criminals to be a part of his new team, although they only seemed to care about being paid. Once they left, while Knuckles stopped his plans of killing Gru and instead decided to mentor him. After bonding with Gru as his mentor, he became willing to risk his life in order to save him and helps him to defeat the Vicious Five. Herbert Overkill is the assistant and husband of Scarlet Overkill. He gives the minions special gear to steal the crown jewels, tried to torture Kevin, Stuart and Bob with the intention of killing them, only failing and playing around with them instead because they were immortal, aids with Scarlet in setting up explosive around the minions, and he and Scarlet try to steal the crown again and tries to escape up until a young Thelonious Gru shows up and freezes them. However, he does care for Scarlet Overkill as he never gets jealous of her success and is always loving her and protecting her. He is also in Scarlet's side when she tries to defeat the minions. He also shows concern to her when a chandelier was dropped into Scarlet and lifts the chandelier to see if she is alive and okay. Unlike Scarlet, he is a calm, affable and laid-back person as he never shows any anger toward the minions. He does view the minions as his friends as when Scarlet told him to torture them at the dungeon, but instead of doing what Scarlet told him, he plays with the minions, and he shows to be more friendly to the minions more than Scarlet Overkill did. While he did sort of follow her orders on torturing the minions with devices, it was up to no avail since they felt no pain as they have intense durability, and even the minions could not be hanged considering the fact that they lacked necks as they played with a noose. Therefore, after watching them playing around the dungeon, he played with them afterwards.
Next up is the neutral bad tier. This tier is for the antagonists that are evil, but have their good moments, are evil for a reason, or aren't as bad as others.
The Onslaught was an ambitious young man who became rich when he kickstarted his business company of THNEDS, fabric objects that could potentially be used for anything. Before turning into a regretful recluse, he was an enigmatic business magnate who sought to expand his THNED empire against the Lorax's grave protests. He eventually arrives at the Trophila Forest and decides that it is the perfect place to make his THNEDS. However, after chopping his first Trophila tree, the Lorax arrives and warns him to stop, but the Onslaught dismisses him. Initially, he merely harvests the Trophila leaves to make his THNEDS, which eventually become popular and grow into a high demand. To fulfill this demand, the Onslaught hires his family to help make the THNEDS. His mother recommends that he cut down the trees to accelerate production, and under pressure, he does so, eventually causing the Lorax to call him out on his broken promise. After the Onslaught cuts down the last Trophila tree, the Phono flee, and the Lorax lifts himself into the sky, leaving one last message. Unless, this also leaves the Lorax and the Phono homeless. His thirst for industry ultimately causes the near extinction of the Trophila trees and the destruction of the environment, causing him to lose his factory and enter self-exile to atone for his mistake. Even with his crimes, he is overall a good-natured person who never meant any real harm. He was, in fact, going to keep his promises not to cut down more trees, and when his attempts at selling the needs failed, he tried to settle down a simple life with Lorax and his friend. He only rose to villainy because his family, mainly his mother, made him become one. He genuinely cares for the Lorax, the animals and Ted Wiggins. He was also the one who gave Ted the idea to fix his town's problems and protect the environment by giving him the last Trophila seed, and thanks to the Onslaught, Ted was able to restore the world to its former glory. After his job was done, he became remorseful once he let the full impact of his actions sink in, with no trees left and the animals and the Lorax going away, homeless, implying he may not even have grasped at how bad his actions were in the first place. In the end, he ultimately redeemed himself when he got himself away from what his company ended up becoming, THNEDDILLE, living in an old house, thinking about what he did. Him thinking about the word and less shows that he still had remorse over his actions and thought about them constantly. Judith works for the SFJ Bank, where which Buster owes a large amount of money. Judith threatens him to pay his debts by the end of the month, or the bank will repossess the theater property. After the theater is destroyed, she is seen setting up a sign declaring the address where it stood as bank property. When Buster and his performers stage a concert in the theater ruined, Judith interrupts Ash's performance and declares that Buster, his friends, and the audience are trespassing on bank property, demanding that they leave. Ash and the audience refuse to oblige. Judith angrily threatens to call the police, but the audience, riled up by Ash, makes it difficult for her to leave, and she's ultimately pierced by some of Ash's quills. Judith is shown to be very serious about her work and upholding her duties to the bank she works for, although her mission to claim payment from the Moon Theater and shut it down is antagonistic to the goals of Buster Moon and his friends. She does not seem to hold any personal resentment towards them or the theater, however, as she happily attends its grand reopening. Jerry is the loyal assistant of Jimmy Crystal. He helps Jimmy Crystal with trying to kill Buster Moon. Jerry sucks up to Jimmy, catering to his every whim despite the abuse Jimmy puts him through. He is also very loyal to his boss and shows to be willing to do anything to get on his good side. He is also very supportive of Crystal and does genuinely care for him. Miss Hattie is the cruel owner of the orphanage that Margot, Edith and Agnes used to live in and the owner of the cookies that they're selling to make a living. She runs the orphanage where she constantly abused the little girl there by forcing them to sell cookies. If the girl didn't get enough money from their sales, she emotionally abused them by putting them in the box of shame. She spitefully told Margot, Edith and Agnes that they will never be adopted after Edith gave her a mud pie and didn't hesitate to go back to get the girls from Drew when he apparently wanted to give them back to her, putting them in the box of shame. Unlike most other despicable main villains, she seems to have no redeeming qualities and she never faces any punishment for her crimes. While she only has about 3 minutes of total screen time, her lasting effect on the girls and her actions for what little time she has is enough for her to qualify this high. She is not any higher because she isn't a full-on supervillain like the others on here. Aloysius O'Hare is a powerful business mogul, mayor of THNEDDILLE, Morty and McGurk's boss, and Wanslar's successor in business. He made a fortune selling oxygen tanks for a machine that he designed to keep the otherwise smoggy air fresh for THNEDDILLE residents. But in order to sell what people used to get for free, O'Hare's air company went to great lengths to keep the locals from leaving town to prevent them from discovering an alternative to his bottled air. So he released smog into the air so that people would have to buy more oxygen from him, even though he most likely knew that it could endanger the health and even lives of many people. He tried to stop Ted from growing the last truffle seed. When Ted spoke for the trees by tearing down the walls of the town to reveal the truth and showing the last tree seed, O'Hare tried in vain to get the citizens on his own side, even threatening to fire his delivery man Amesai if he did not get the people on his side. Despite the Wanslar causing more destruction than him, he made people pay for oxygen which could have killed people, whereas the Wanslar only forced animals out of their habit. Carlos is the former leader of the Easter Chicks. He is also a chick who served as the second in command to the Easter Bunny known as Mr. Bunny, until he attempted to overthrow him. Carlos is a very traitorous and arrogant chick who hates rabbits, believing that they have it easier than him. He is also shown to have a convincing and fake compassionate persona. Plus, he is also mainly annoyed by Phil's stupidity. Carlos would do anything to release her. Plus, his fake kind persona happened to get the bunny's attention since he was also the second in command. Furthermore, he keeps his plans as a secret very well. He intended to replace the children's Easter eggs, candy, and chocolate with clumps of seed, dried crickets, and worms, had Mr. Bunny and Fred tied in black licorice and placed above a vat of boiling liquid candy to be submerged in, tried to make all the bunnies suffer for what he thought as being tyrannical for him, and tired to kill Evie so he doesn't interfere with his hard work on his dominant plan. Mr. Perkins is Victor Perkins' father and the president of the Bank of Evil, where he supplies loans to villains on their schemes, including his son. At first, he appears to be an ally of Felonious Group, but later betrays him due to his constant inefficacy. He ordered Vector to steal the moon, leading to him taking Margot, Edith and Agnes hostage and nearly killing Margot by holding her back so that Gru would fail to rescue her and threaten Gru's life many times. Mr. Perkins is an overly pudgy, cold-hearted, strict, morose, argumentative, and self-serving man. He is additionally egomaniacal and vain to the core. Early on, he showed contempt for Gru and stated that he preferred to use younger villains, such as his son. Mr. Perkins also compared Gru to an apple and crushed two apples when speaking to him on different occasions. Mr. Perkins is also shown to be extremely angry and vituperative with Vector for losing the shrink ray when Gru successfully stole it, but it is shown that he does care for his son because of a picture of himself giving a young Vector a piggyback ride is on his desk. A few years ago, back at his young adult age, Mr. Perkins did seem to be more benevolent and empathetic than he is now, as he was cold and malevolent. He was also concerned when it appeared that while Knuckles was having a heart attack, in reality, he was faking it, so that Gru would be able to steal something of profit. While he was shown dancing in the climax of the fourth film with the other inmates with no animosity toward Gru, it is too vague to tell if he redeemed himself and he could just be enjoying the moment. While these qualities would make him Gru's most evil villain, the issue is that he doesn't do any evil outside of his business when compared to Gru's other villains. He seems to genuinely care for his son Victor. When he is talking to Gru, he starts to praise and speak well of Vector for stealing the pyramid, and he has a photo of Vector when he was a child on his desk and he looks at it with a smile.
Last up is the most evil tier. This tier is for the antagonists that have little to no redeemable qualities, have done the worst of things.
Sergei is the cruel and abusive Russian owner of Sergei's Circus of Fun, and whose abusive former owner. He tortured Who in front of Snowball and Daisy while trying to practice performing a water diving trick using a whip no matter how scared the cub is. Tried to kill Max, Snowball, Daisy with his gun for taking Who away from him before getting hit by the cat lady's car. Captured Daisy and prepared to use her as a cannonball, forcing Who to perform at his circus out of greed and later torturing him. And tries to stop Who from escaping by restraining him with his chain collar/leash and threatens to shoot all the animals with a gun. Sergei is shown to be an abusive, uncaring, loud, ill-tempered, evil, despicable, greedy, and bossy man. He shows no care or empathy for human or animal life whatsoever, as seen when he abuses his wills and his circus staff. Despite his actions, he is shown to care for his pet Kapukin monkey, Little Sergei, as he's shown to never abuses him, and Little Sergei always follows his orders. Vector, real name Victor Perkins, is a young, aspiring supervillain and the son of Mr. Perkins, the president of the Bank of Evil, as well as the first villain to fight Felonious Group. He steals the Great Pyramid of Giza, replacing it with a giant inflatable replica, which is deemed the greatest crime of the century. This caused every country in the world to become paranoid and overprotective over their artifacts, as they were worried what he would steal next. And it also led to Gru's plot to steal the moon in order to surpass Vector's theft of the pyramid. He steals the shrink ray from Gru and shrinks Gru's ship with Gru and 2 minions inside out of revenge for having his head frozen. Threatened to kill Margot, Edith and Agnes just for showing up on his doorstep to give him cookies. Kidnaps the girls in hopes of receiving the moon from his rival, continuing to have the girls held hostage even after Gru gave up the moon, and tries to kill Margot in front of Gru, knowing that his own escape pod is about to blow up. He is also the reason why Gru became a hero and adopted Margot, Edith, and Agnes. Despite being a genius in mechanics, strategy, and inventing, Vector is socially awkward and mischievous. He is arrogant and boastful, and often takes time to congratulate himself and revel in his achievements. Vector can be quite deceitful as well, as he procrastinates on safely returning Margot, Edith, and Agnes when Gru simply surrenders the moon as promised. He can also be sadistic, laughing and jeering at his evil deeds, or when he has outsmarted anybody he opposes. While he was shown dancing in the climax of the fourth film with the other inmates with no animosity toward Gru, it is too vague to tell if he redeemed himself, and he could just be enjoying the moment. However, he cares for his father, as he does his villainous deeds under his orders and sincerely wants to please him. He also cares for his pet shark, as he was shocked when Gru hit him. Despite his great intelligence, he is incompetent. Maxime Lamal is a cockroach-themed supervillain who becomes the fourth sworn adversary as well as the arch-nemesis of Thelonious Group. Their conflict originates due to the fact that Maxime was humiliated by Group during their time at school as well as when he was arrested during a sting operation, thereby seeking revenge on him and his family after he gets exposed for his crimes before getting arrested by the Avil. After being captured by Group, he almost immediately broke out of prison and vowed revenge on the former supervillain. He painfully turned Group Jr. and a gas station man into human cockroach hybrids, leaving them in a fate worse than death, planned to turn every human into a cockroach, attempted to drop Group to his death from the construction site, and told the brainwashed Group Jr. to go and kill his father Group. Maxime is shown to be very arrogant, self-centered, unrelenting and vengeful, while also being a petty and a diabolical mastermind. He overall stands out for being the only despicable main villain to brainwash people, with the process being depicted as painful when they are transformed into cockroach hybrids, as well as attempting to do it to every human and being the most personal villain towards Group. He also stands out for the only villain in the entire franchise to directly harm a baby. Despite Maxime's worst villainous traits, he still genuinely loves his girlfriend, Valentina, his cockroach soldiers, and was affable to Principal Belschlecht. The reason he isn't any lower is because he obtains partial redemption by performing a musical number with Gru, suggesting he has cooled off. Kamek is the right-hand wizard of Bowser who helps him in his quest to conquer the Mushroom Kingdom and marry Princess Peach. He used his magic to easily subdue the Penguin King and his army and help Bowser obtain the Superstar, trap Luigi in a magic force field so Bowser can torture him and get info about Mario, torture Toad in order to threaten Princess Peach into marrying Bowser, and sadistically told Bowser's prisoners that they'll be executed as wedding tribute, showing that Kamek knows about Bowser's plan to ritualistically sacrifice his victims. Kamek is a very loyal Koopa who acts as Bowser's advisor. He demonstrates some level of sadism, as seen by his facial expression when Bowser destroys the Penguin Kingdom, as well as when he is torturing Toad. He is also much more friendly with Bowser and is the main one Bowser opens up to compared to the other Koopas, making him the closest thing Bowser has to a friend or father figure. The members here are Nunchuck, Jean-Claude, Svengens, and Stronghold. They help Bell-Bottom usurp Wild Knuckles, invade Wild Knuckles' home with their machines, and try to kill Gru, who was a child at the time. Nunchuck goes after the minion that had been turned into a chicken, catching him and tying him up, and eats the surviving egg that was launched at her by the minion. Although a holy Catholic woman, she is just as evil as the other villains. She was shown to have somewhat of a sadistic side when she pretended to befriend a chick in her snake-like form and then eating it shortly after. While attacking, she often screams with her mouth wide open. When she isn't battling, Nunchuck is often seen clasping her hands in prayer. Jean-Claude goes after the minion that had been turned into a goat during the final battle and captures Otto, who is trying to save Gru, before Gru slams him in the head with the clock tower's hand. Svengens rampages alongside Stronghold and goes after the minion that had been changed into a rabbit and tries to attack him. Stronghold headbutts the minion that was being chased by Jean-Claude. However, they have a genuine villainous friendship with each other. From least evil to most evil, I went with Svengens, Stronghold, Jean-Claude, and finally Nunchuck. Jimmy Crystal is the head of Crystal Entertainment and the owner and CEO of Crystal Tower Hotel and Theater. He is also Portia's estranged father, and Jerry and Suki Lane's boss. While he got along with Buster in show production earlier, he subverted this later on when he betrayed Buster by canceling the show, going against his orders. He threatened to kill Buster if Calloway isn't in the show by next week after discovering Buster lied about knowing Play Calloway. Tried to kill Buster by throwing him off the roof simply because Buster fired his daughter, only failing because his assistant told him about a TV interview he had to do. This was simply him being mad at his reputation being damaged rather than care for his daughter. Locked Buster in a closet when he had to do an interview, telling him he will kill him later. He then mocked him and his friends on live TV just to bully them, and ordered his henchmen to go to Buster's house to kill him. After thinking Buster and his friends did a secret show, he tried to get it shut down, then tried to drop Buster from the top of the catwalk. After the show ended, he tried to take credit for it, only to be arrested for his crimes. Jimmy Crystal is the fame-seeking and charismatic wolf who is worst known for his hard-headedness, in which case he will do whatever it takes to make big shows. He is also a tough crowd pleaser as he is never easy to please. Jimmy was also shown to be menacing and threatening when he urges someone to do something quickly. When his daughter got fired, his personality descends into a sadistic, bad-tempered, and slightly unhinged agenda. As a bonus, he absolutely despises being made a fool out of and anyone objecting to his authority in any way. While he may have started off respecting his daughter, Portia, as he gave Moon a second chance by not throwing him out the window like he said he would, after finding out Buster lied to him about knowing Blake Calloway. Due to her being in it, he clearly no longer has any care or respect for her in the end. This is shown when he told her goodnight before going to bed and she didn't answer him. Due to her not being there, he could have gone to check on her, but instead he said fine. Be that way. What a spoiled brat, showing he doesn't even care about her safety. Not only that, but when Portia was breaking down crying due to how she was fired from the show even though Buster only wanted to let Portia change spots with Rosita, he angrily told her to be quiet, that she embarrassed him enough and that she is a sorry excuse of a daughter, revealing he doesn't care about Portia or her feelings and is only concerned about his own image. Bell Bottom is a disco-themed supervillain and the current new leader of the Vicious Six, the worst group of supervillains in the world. She tries to get Brew killed after she steals the Zodiac Stone. This makes her hypocritical since that stone wasn't even hers in the first place. While she never establishes how exactly she'll do it, she plans on killing everybody in the Apple. She ties Brew onto a clock and has the hands stretch his arms until they crack, tries to kill Wild Knuckles once he returns, and when she supposedly succeeds again, she snickers at his death, and tries to kill Brew one last time, though thankfully the minions come to his rescue and defeat her. Belle can best be described as rude, sassy, egotistical, and immoral woman, and was willing to let Wild Knuckles fall to his death and take his place as the leader of the Vicious Six. She's willing to cause complete chaos and mass destruction to get what she wanted. She even destroyed Wild Knuckles' house. She's also shown to be petty, evidenced by her tying Brew to the hands of a clock to be torn apart even after getting what she wanted. While she never abused the other members of the Vicious Six, that's not enough to say she cares about them. If she is, she may most likely be doing so out of pragmatism, considering she thinks Wild Knuckles is too old to be a part of them anymore, while the other members aren't. While she danced to Gru's song at the end of the fourth movie along with several other past villains, there's no indication that she is redeemed. However, she's shown to have a genuine friendship with Scarlet Overkill, happily giving her a high five. As her name suggests, is the mother of the film's villain protagonist, the Onslaught, and as shown by his flashbacks, the Onslaught's mother is a greedy and failure-intolerant woman who just cares for money and success. She is a greedy and failure-intolerant woman who just cares for money and success and is somewhat manipulative and abusive, especially to her youngest son, the Onslaught. It's also implied that she subjected her older sons Brett and Chet to abusive treatment as well, and there is no indication that she sees them as anything more than workers or tools. While she did start acting proud of Onslaught after riding over when his business ended up being successful, this was only because she had finally something to gain rather than genuine care for him. She even manipulates the Onslaught into tearing down the Truffle Forest and polluting the environment, thus devastating the entire ecosystem. After the last Truffle tree is cut down, she blames the Onslaught by saying that he let her down even though she was the one to really blame due to kickstarting everything that had transpired, and disowns him, naming Brett as her new favorite child. She then rides off with the rest of her family and abandons the Onslaught in the bleak forest, never to be seen again. Despite her indirect involvement in her son's crimes and the damage done to the environment, she's this low due to playing a huge role in the devastation of the Truffle Forest by convincing him to chop down more trees to the point that he takes hers and subsequently leaves the entire ecosystem in utter ruin, and in turn this would eventually lead to Mayor Aloysius O'Hare releasing smog into the air while keeping the otherwise polluted air fresh with a machine that he ran, just so that the people of THNEDVILLE could continue purchasing more bottled oxygen from him. Despite getting along relatively well with most of her family and naming Brett her new favorite, there is nothing to show that she really cares about them, only sharing her greed with them. She may as well drop him as her favorite as well when she finds no use for him eventually, as shown with Brett and Chet's horrified faces. Overall, she has no actual redeeming qualities in the slightest and is portrayed as an abusive parent who only likes her children whenever she could get benefit out of them and otherwise shows no genuine care for them at all. She's not any lower because the others are just that much worse. The Koopa General is the general of the Koopa army who helps Bowser with his crimes and attempted to help him take over the world and the Mushroom Kingdom. He helped Bowser invade the Penguin Kingdom and steal the Superstar, informed Bowser that Mario and Peach won the Kong army and were going to their secret hideout, ambushed Mario, Peach, Toad, and the Kong army during the route to the Mushroom Kingdom under Bowser's orders, attempted to kill Mario by firing bullet bills at him and then crushing him with his monster truck, taunting him while he did so, cruelly ran over his subordinates and several Kongs with his reckless driving while trying to capture Mario, and performed a kamikaze attack on Mario and Donkey Kong by retracting inside his shell, killing himself in an attempt to kill them. This attack also indirectly led to Bowser successfully getting the Kongs captured to be used as sacrifices for the wedding. As with any other general in an army, Koopa General is very loyal to his nation's leader, Bowser, following his orders without question. Whenever Bowser is present, he acts dignified and salutes him whenever addressed. On the other hand, whether or not his king happens to be present, he is unashamed of his own extremely maniacal, temperamental, wrathful, and bloodthirsty nature. An extraordinarily hateful, vicious, and cruel Koopa at any given occasion, he frequently takes sadistic enjoyment inflicting pain on his targets and more than willing to go as far as murder. He takes a lot of pleasure in his job and will do whatever it takes to get the job done, even if it means suicide. He is also shown to be extremely vengeful and vicious as seen when after he is outsmarted by Mario and Donkey Kong, he tucks himself inside his shell with white wings, transforming himself into a blue shell just like in Mario Kart games and launching himself like a homing missile at the duo in a last attempt to kill them, costing him his own life in the process. One trait that stays consistent with him, loyalty aside, is his fearlessness. He demonstrated the least amount of fear and wimpiness, even compared to Bowser and Kamek, as the former is insecure about himself whenever competition for Princess Peach is present, and Kamek can feel intimidated whenever his king is fuming with fury. One could say that he is loyal to Bowser, as he follows Bowser's orders, gave him a salute when he said his species name with nothing indicating it's out of pragmatism, and sacrificed himself to try to kill Mario and Donkey Kong under his orders. However, this may not be enough to say he is genuinely loyal to Bowser, as the fact that he is willing to kill his own men without remorse just because of his obsession over wanting to kill Mario is proof that he's following Bowser's orders only out of his own sadistic enjoyment over killing others. Scarlet Overkill is a stylish, ambitious and powerful criminal mastermind who is determined to dominate Britain and become the first supervillainess. She is also the wife of Overkill. She planned to have the crown of Queen Elizabeth stolen to overthrow her and attempted to kill Bob for betraying her. Once Bob gave the crown and deemed her the new queen, she took the trio of minions into the dungeons and locked them all in order to get them tortured, launched a fashion designer out of the window after he failed to get her hair done correctly, and set explosives after capturing Bob and Stuart in order to kill them and took Bob's teddy bear as a memento. After she saw the minion tribe, she planned to wipe them all out for no reason other than the three individuals she hates are members of this race. Even though they were immortal, she was never aware of it and it does not justify that she intended a genocide on them. Scarlet is a witty, humorous, domineering, authoritative, and influential woman. Her backstory about how she became a villain inspired many people to follow in her footsteps. According to Tina Nelson, she started out as an average little girl with braces and pigtails. But by age 13, she built a criminal empire. She likes to be overconfident and boastful about her interesting gadgets invented by her husband, such as her trademark rocket dress. She also knows some skills of martial arts, and she can apparently use them immediately, which is shown when the villains try to take the ruby from her in Villain Con. As implied in the bedtime story for the minions, she was necessitous, penniless, insolvent, and abandoned when she was a child. Because of this, she was determined to become the most arrogant and villainous queen of all in order to be respected by everyone who ever doubted her. As a bonus, she is also very elegant, grateful, and impressive to those who support her and speaks diplomatically in public. When the minions work for her, she appears to be very thoughtful and tender to her allies, though she occasionally cannot bear the minions' childishness. Sometimes, she can also be cunning, mean and cantankerous when someone mocks or betrays her, even if it was accidental. Despite being cunning, her arrogance and her past, which makes it seem as if she fears betrayal, makes her blind to the fact that minions really didn't betray her. She can even be very hypocritical. When the minion tribe showed up to her when she was fighting Kevin, she was willing to kill all of them too for being minions, even though they had nothing to do with her conflict with Kevin, Bob, and Stuart. While she was shown dancing in the climax of the fourth film with the other inmates with no animosity towards Gru, it is too vague to tell if she redeemed herself and she could just be enjoying the moment. However, she genuinely loves her husband, Herb, has no ill will towards the minions, genuinely touched by the gift of the tiny crown by Bob, and simply wanted to hurt them to prove a point, genuinely grateful to all the villains that attended her coronation and even complimented the musician on her talent as well as thanking the Archbishop, and developed a genuine friendship with Bellbottom.
The bronze medal of evil goes to
Balthazar Bratt is the vengeful supervillain who used to be a child actor for his own titular show in Hollywood before it got cancelled due to him hitting puberty and, as such, becoming the character he was on his own show. He disguised himself as an overweight jewel inspector to retrieve the Dumont diamond from a museum. After he discovered Gru has a twin brother, he immediately decided to try to kill the two. He sent toys of him from his evil brat days to attack Gru and later Lucy, tied up Gru's wife Lucy, stuffed her in a closet, and disguised himself as her to enact his plans, shot Bubblegum at Hollywood and sent them into space, which would have killed thousands of innocents, and kidnapped Gru's daughters Margot, Edith and Agnes, as well as Agnes, had one horned goat. He then attempted to force them to watch his mass murder unfold, leaving them on an unsafe building ledge, delighting in pure sadism that he left initially Agnes the youngest, in a particularly dangerous position right in front of her sisters. Balthazar Bratt is a pure megalomaniac consumed by ego. He is incredibly selfish and thinks almost only on himself and only on his actions. In addition to this, Bratt is an extremely ruthless and destructive individual who shows no mercy towards his enemies, especially when he attempted to destroy Hollywood, and mostly, he enjoys wreaking havoc and destruction as revenge on them for cancelling his evil Brat show and decimating his career. And given the fact that over 3 decades have passed since Evil Brat was cancelled, it's likely that just about everyone involved in Brat's show ending has since retired and moved away from Hollywood, making his revenge hit people who've done nothing to him, meaning that his so-called tragedy was never valid or even understandable in the first place. While he was shown dancing in the climax of the fourth film with the other inmates with no animosity towards Gru, it is too vague to tell if he redeemed himself, and he could just be enjoying the moment.
the silver medal of evil goes to
Eduardo Perez is a former supervillain who faked his death to start a new life. Secretly, he was kidnapping all of the minions and mass brainwashed them into becoming barbaric killing machines so he could destroy 10 cities, thus killing off millions of innocent people, including children, and take over the world, a scale that no other villain in the series is even close to matching. His attempted body count is far higher than Scarlet Overkill and Balthazar Bratt, and Vector and Maxim Lamile. He is highly intelligent, with him managing to successfully fake his death 20 years prior to the events of the film, manipulating everyone apart from Gru into believing he isn't associated with the theft of PX-41, kidnapping the majority of Gru's minions to use them in his goal for world domination, and having the skills to create 10 rockets that will send all the minions to vastly populated cities across the world for them to attack. While he is seen dancing alongside other villain prisoners to Gru and Maxim's song, there's no indication he fully redeemed himself out of his own volition. All of his affable moments are to hide his true colors, so they aren't fully genuine. However, he cares for his pet chicken, El Palito, and he at least shows a little respect towards Gru. He also has a degree of patriotism for his home country, Mexico. He reveals that he has the tattoo of the Mexican flag across his chest, and while exploring his lair, it is decorated very Aztec-like. El Macho's dress style is also very reminiscent of that of a Mexican super wrestler.
the gold medal for the most evil character goes to
King Bowser is the tyrannical king of the Koopa race and the ruler of the Darklands, who desires to conquer the world using the powerful superstar. He takes the worst aspects of nearly every villain here. He destroyed the Penguin Kingdom just to get his hands on the superstar and imprisoned its king and inhabitants with the intent to sacrifice them at his planned forced marriage to Peach. He's also imprisoned a child, Bloom, with it being imprisoned for so long that he's become borderline nihilistic. He had Kamek torture Toad to blackmail Peach into marrying him, attempted to ritualistically sacrifice hundreds of his prisoners to a pool of lava at the wedding ceremony, and launched the bomber built to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom to spite Peach for rejecting him in favor of Mario. Despite his claims to be in love with Peach, It's revealed to be nothing more than a lustful obsession, further proven by when asked if she refuses his marriage proposal, he will destroy her kingdom. In his words, he only likes her for her heart-shaped bangs, the way she floats in the breeze, her immovable tiara, and when Peach finally rejects him at the altar, he immediately tries to kill her with his fire breath, and violently attacking her when transported to Brooklyn. When he learns of Mario, he immediately develops a hatred for him and sees him as the love rival of Peach to be eliminated, when in reality, Mario only went to Peach to seek her help in rescuing his brother Luigi. It also implies that he is misanthropic. He's a horrible boss to his army, being dismissive towards the Spinnies, turning a Koopa into a dry bone, therefore making him undead, just for telling Bowser the high possibility of Peach refusing his marriage proposal, showing no concern for the Koopa General's sacrifice to try and kill Mario. Not even his right-hand man, Kamek, is safe from his abuse. The multiple dry bones chasing Luigi in the Darklands give an implication that he's torched many Koopas before. He's also imprisoned some of his own army, some Goombas, and some Koopas who were implied to be against Bowser's conquest. Bowser is an extremely sadistic and cruel tyrant, who will go to great measures when it comes to getting what he wants and doesn't hesitate to destroy anyone who gets in his way. Unlike his game counterpart, he has zero redeeming qualities.
And with that, the list is done. If you have your own character that should be ranked differently, or if I forgot a character, please let me know in the comment section below.